Okay. So, very good morning to all of you, and it is interactive session for the your power system engineering course. So, some of you have put the questions in that Google Sheet. I have some 14 or 15 questions with me, and particularly before taking those questions, that I think this time assignment 7 probably uploaded, and those who have particularly in assignment 1, 2, assignment 3 you have done well as per from the average marks whatever I have understood, and assignment 4 that you are traveling way particularly that thing average is little less because of that this particular topic is slightly difficult than the other topic covered in this course, and whatever questions you are putting that asks to be a question or in the forum, all the questions have been answered till date, right. Even last night I received one email from one student regarding your that assignment 7 one problem, but that has been that also will be clarified. I think whatever question you have raised and whatever answers you have written, it appears to me that it is correct. I have also discussed with my TS, but if anything is there you put in the forum regarding assignment, it will be answered immediately. So, all the questions have been your what you call answered. So, so somebody has take some questions first. For example, somebody has written that brief review of your what you call the cables. So, if you look at that cable coverage whatever I have made for this course, everything more or less in detail as far as undergraduate study is concerned, and I once again I was going through the notes of the your what you call that cables. I found things are okay for undergraduate level. So, there is no need for further the brief description of cable, everything is there, everything is there. And another point is that your before taking another somebody has said something different, that each selection of power system for further studies of triple student will be favorable for their future. This is a this is the question that I mean in general my feeling is that if you take power system course, what will be the future or something like that. So, look, without power we cannot move, right. So, any course you take power system related means definitely it will help you in future. And previous course the power system analysis previous semester and this semester the topics which have been left out I have taken for that, and that is why that power system engineering your course, it has covered many things, but one thing I have taken that before taking more questions, that distribution system, because nowadays the electrical engineering right. So, nowadays the concept is that I can say from its axis it is slowly and slowly that is shifting, because your of microgrid, nanogrid, smart grid. So, concepts are changing. So, that is why the distribution system earlier it was a passive distribution network. That means that there was no source connected to the distribution side. Say if I consider in our country for example say 11 kV side, but if you connect the distributed generation or DGs in short, it may be renewable, it may be your non-renewable. Renewable we call that is your non-dispatchable, and your what you call, and any your non-renewable we call dispatchable. So, these DGs when you connect to the distribution side network, then your distribution network are no longer passive, it is active distribution network. And that is why I thought that distribution system, particularly distribution load flows and little bit of application of shunt capacitor, series capacitors and some approximation, something has been made, and particular distribution load flow. So, and it is for only for radial distribution network load flow algorithm has been explained. Currently those assignment you are doing for distribution load flow, and only thing is that please follow the note carefully. I have tried my best to explain each and everything in detail, and it is not available in the book at present. but I thought one should learn this from the point of view of that active distribution network. So it's a radial network concept, is only radial network is considered, and I have told that what is radial distribution network and what is mesh distribution network. If you follow the lectures, you will find everything has been explained in detail, and the load flow plot I have simplified for you. That is, if you when somebody put question last night, send me a mail, that means he has understood that what actually has been done. So in that case, we have tried to find out the number of nodes beyond each branch, right. So but the algorithm is there to find out the number of nodes beyond each branch. But your case, what I have done it, that I have asked you to make a data file for that how many nodes are there beyond each branch, because it's a radial distribution, it is a radial network. So automatically you can and take those nodes as a data, right. That means you have to put, when you write the code, you have to you have to give those data, read those data, that how many nodes are there beyond each branch. So that's why algorithm part for identification of node I have not covered, because my objective was to let you know exactly what it is. So that's why that distribution power flow and two methods are covered. One is method 1, another is your method 2. In fact, these two methods actually several years back, actually this concept came to my mind. So in that case, the first method 1 or method 2, whatever has been made, method 1, method 2, when you are computing voltage magnitude only, that actually I did it several years back, when that was 4 or so, 93 I have made it, that method I have developed. And whether you will believe or not, at present my age is nearly 56, 57, but so I used to write own. I have several computer programming, control as well as this distribution system, and you people are young people, and nowadays coding is one of the component for getting job, software job, everything. So code part I have just given the algorithm, but code part I have not asked you that you develop, because that then the objective of this course will be lost. But I have given the complete algorithm, that you please see that, and if you develop this load flow algorithm, you will find that perhaps it will be very useful for you for your for your BTech project if you do. And suppose if you need data for this your distribution network, because whatever has been explained there, it is for balanced distribution network, right, assuming that like transmission line, that this can be represented by a single line diagram equivalent, right. So that's why unbalanced part I have not considered for this course, then it will be slightly difficult for you. So that's why unbalanced power flow I have not considered. And there itself, your if you come from the beginning, that I think we started with insulators, then cables, and then your corona, then travelling waves, then sag and tension. All these things have been covered. Somebody has put a question that particularly that insulator case, that puncture voltage and flashover voltage, right. Actually in the case of puncture, when arc actually passes through the body of the insulator, then your insulator will be totally damaged, right. So there is no chance of recovery, and you have to replace that one, right. And whereas a flashover voltage actually due to some due to surges, say if the flashover can occur between the conductor and the earth and around your insulators, because air is surrounding the insulator, so there may be a flashover voltage, but puncture voltage is much higher than your the flashover. But generally flashovers actually, because of flashover, that insulator may not be damaged generally, in general, but some special cases may be there, it may get damaged, it may may get damaged also. So those insulator parts, and if you look at the insulator, that different we call that raincoat or petticoat, right. If you look at that top portion of that petticoat or raincoat is slightly bigger in than then the other part, right, because it is that will be shaded from the rain, right. If flashover take place, it will go at your the flashover distance will be less, and it will be there on that your upper petticoat of the this thing or the insulator. So if you see physically the insulator, I mean if it is in front of you, then you can visualize this. But if you see your what you call suspension type of insulator or string insulator, then nearby transmission line, high tension transmission line, you have seen that different combinations of insulators are there, right. Generally you will find several strings are there, each piece may be approximately 11 kb, something like that. So insulators have been covered in detail, and everything your whatever questions you are putting in that your what you call that your forum, all the questions are answered. I have told my TS not a single question to be skipped. So till date all the questions have been answered, right. If you have anything in your mind, then another student has put a question in that for your Google Sheet that 50 Hz or 60 Hz frequency. Let me tell you, this has become a convention over the years. So 50 Hz generally in Asia, except Japan, I will come to Japan later, and Europe, they follow the standard 50 Hz, and if it is a and particularly in thermal power plant, if it is a 2-pole your generally it is a 2-pole J synchronous generator. So naturally the wind turbine your turbine generator speed is generally 3000 rpm, but in USA or Canada it is 60 Hz. So it is 3600 rpm. This is the difference of the speed, that is all, but there is no other thing. This system is convention is coming over the years. So there is no, I mean it depends on country to country, but in Japan they have both, they have 50 Hz as well as 60 Hz system, they have both. And but operating voltage level in our country, if you take, it is 230 volt line to your what you call the neutral voltage at your residence, and where at present I am sitting here also. But if it is in USA, then it is 110 volt say. So but in that case, if it is 110 volt, that appliances for example use at home, the rating and other thing will be different. Similarly here we make 230 volt, so that will also your design procedure will be different. This is the thing, but this convention is coming over the years. Somebody has put a question that why the voltage level is multiplication of 11 kV, right. So this 11 kV, right, your what you call that 11, then 33, then 6, even 22 kV also I have seen. So 33, 66, then 132 up to 220, these all are multiplication of 11. There is no reason as such, right. I have tried my best about this one. Even this morning also I tried. Let me review. Let me brush up my memories once again. And there is no reason such that. But after that it is 400 kV. So there is no reason that. But this standard or this convention is coming for over the years. But this is our country. But other country it is different. Some countries it may be instead of 11, 12.66 kV, or maybe your what you call high voltage level 345 kV. This kind of your what you voltage level is there. So it is up to that, it is totally up to the your what you call, it depends on the design point of view, but our country it is multiplication of 11 up to 200, 220 kV, after that is 400 kV, right. So if you take above 400 kV, 765 kV lines are there in different parts of the world, as well as 1200 kV also, right. So there is no such your what you call reason. Another student, of course it is on the previous course, but still I have to answer that regarding power system analysis course, he said load flow studies, then optimal operation and jet bus building algorithm. Sir, why don't give, I have given the algorithm, he said it is iterative method algorithm, but why not the coding you are teaching? Look, then objective of the course will be lost. Let me tell you all these things. I have all these codes. I have, even distribution load flow I have so many algorithms, I have all these codes. But question is that then objective of the course will be lost. You may be able to write your algorithm or this thing, but if I look all over India and different colleges, right, so I found that then objective of the course will be lost. But algorithm, everything I am giving. If you want to write code, then naturally you can your what you call that your what you call it will take then not 30 hours recording, it may take 50 hours recording. So somebody has put a question here, I want to know about the relation between corona loss and production of non-sinusoidal wave. Actually just these things I have skipped beyond the scope, but let me tell you one thing. Because of the corona loss, the charging that your what you call that your charging current will be higher, because coronal loss actually introduces your what you call harmonics. Because of that harmonics, your what you call that your what you call it your increase the charging current because of the harmonics. The first one who put the question, and production of non-sinusoidal, that is true, non-sinusoidal wave, that harmonics will be produced. So, which is better 50 Hz, this is another question, which is better 50 Hz or 60 Hz, it depends on various country to country. This convention is, I cannot tell which is better, both are same. The only thing is that your design part of the turbo generator system will be different, because for 60 Hz that it is 2-pole machine, NS is equal to 120 into 8 by P, and P is equal to 2 AP 60 Hz, then it will move, the turbo generator set will move at a speed of 3600 RPM, right. And if it is a 50 Hz, then it is 3000 RPM. For example, in our country, all thermal power plant, the turbo generator same road, it totally on the design purpose. There is no basis that I cannot tell which is better this thing. I will say a totally design thing, and there is no merit or demerit over each other. I have to say that both whatever I have understood, both are same. So in our country or Europe, it is a 50 Hz. Then another one, sir, will you please explain concept of the reactive power flows? This is actually somebody is writing that generally your what you call that if you studied circuit theory, you will find the reactive power actually moves in a cyclic wave. Take for example, this is beyond the scope, the single phase circuit or 3-phase circuit, whatever. You go to the that power flows in circuit theory chapter, there you will find the concept of reactive power. But as far as load flow is concerned and this thing, let me tell you, this is the thing. But anyway, this concept of reactive power flow, your next semester I will try to take another course. There this will be explained very nicely. I will try my best. But this reactive power concept of reactive power flow means that if you consider while teaching load flow studies, that your loads, generally it is most of the loads are of lagging type, right. That means it consume real power as well, but at the same time it consume reactive power. So generally at the power station, the synchronous generator, say for example, it operates around 0.85 power factor. So it generates real power, but it generates reactive power also. But when it is that current is flowing through the transmission line, high tension line, then it will be step down, right. Finally it will come to consumer side, right, excluding say industrial consumers. I am talking about ourselves, right. So in that case, what will happen, that line actually both have R and X values. So naturally you will have I square R loss as well as I square X loss. But generally you will find that whatever reactive power generated by synchronous generator, right, and whatever load required the reactive power, sometimes load reactive power demand is much more than the reactive power generated by the synchronous generator. So in that case, what we do actually generally, in general thing, they say put fax devices to support the reactive power. I will tell you the simple thing. If you go to the substation, then you will find almost every substation you will find that shunt capacitors are connected. Shunt capacitors actually inject reactive power, and that is why that power factor improvement may not be for this 7 as yours up to 31 to 35 that your lecture videos, but it will come after that. There you will find everything has been explained with mathematical, everything is there, right. So in that case, what will happen, that shunt capacitors are employed and connected, particularly at the substation up to 33 kV substation level, you will find that shunt capacitors are connected, and basically then those shunt capacitors actually are made it, the main objective is first thing is that it improves the power factor, you know that. So whenever you are connecting shunt capacitor, I have told that when shunt capacitor has come, not up to 35 video lectures, after that it will come, but I am telling you that whenever you primary objective or supplying reactive power using shunt capacitor is that it's actually your primary objective is that it reduces the power loss, right, and though not much, it improves the voltage magnitude, right. But common idea I have seen among the people that shunt capacitor means it improves the voltage. It improves the voltage, but that is not the primary objective. Primary objective of shunt capacitor is that it actually reduces the power losses, both real power loss as well as reactive power loss, but our objective is the real power loss, right. And series capacitor actually its primary objective is that it improves the voltage magnitude, and though not much, it's what you call it reduces the power loss. So details are there, after the lecture all these things will come. So as I told you, the reactive power flows, the synchronous generator generate reactive power, but it is not sufficient to supply that reactive power to the load. So that's why we put that your what you call shunt compensation devices, such that that your what you call all your power factor also will improve, and automatically whatever shortcomings will be there, that will be compensated by the your what you call reactive power. Now another thing is, somebody has said thank you sir, listening all this. Somebody has written, is anyone from there, sir? Somebody has said, sir, why does not use two-phase system to it also create rotating magnetic field? Actually it is not economical. I do not know whether in your course it is taught or not. In the past I have also studied single phase, two phase, three phase, and the volume of the copper required, everything. And so actually it is not economical. You have to see, people are thinking of, so I have seen some of the articles that from 3 phase to 6 phase, but whenever anything you choose, first you have to think about the economy. It is not your interest from the monetary point of view, because money is involved. So you have those two phase system actually not economical. Maybe you have studied your this thing. Then another question is there, sir. We are writing matrix that EJJK for 30 bus load problem is difficult. So how to tackle that situation? Actually, for if you have taken the 33 bus distribution network, very commonly used by the people, but in the lecture note it is not there. Let me tell you, that data preparation is not at all easy. In the 33 bus distribution network, bus 1 is a substation, and you have 3 or 1 main feeder lateral branch is there. If my memory is correct, then it is 1 to node 18 is the main feeder. After that some lateral branches are there. So easily you can make a data table. It's it is typing of the integer number, right, and read that. But identification algorithm is also there. If I explain that identification algorithm, you can easily write the code, and for any system you can apply, but then objective of the course will be lost. I never wanted that you should develop this identification algorithm, but it is there. But you put that beyond each branch you find out the node. For example, beyond branch 1 all the nodes are there. For example, node 2 to 33. Similarly, beyond branch 3 how many nodes are there? Just prepare a what you call it's a data table and enter it. It is nothing actually, and after that you can find out that that initial values of the voltages you compute, initial value of the voltages you assume, and substation voltage you take 1 angle 0 say. So all it will be flat voltage start. Flat voltage means that all the node voltage should be equal to the slack bus voltage, because your substation is a slack bus voltage, and 33 kV actually original system, it is a hypothetical system actually, and it was given long time back, if I recall correctly. This network probably it is in 1991 around that time. Somebody from USA in his paper we found it hypothetical, not a real system, but 69 bus another one is there, it's a real system, and its voltage level actually 12.66 kV. So 1 per unit means it is 12.66 kV, right. And accordingly you assume all the voltage, initial voltage is 1 angle 0, every bus, every your node, your loads are known, PL, QL, kilowatt, kilowatt. You take for example whatever I have taught you, you take 100 MVA base and 12.66 your what you call that base voltage, but all the data are you can convert accordingly to RNX value to per unit, because base impedance is equal to kV square upon MVA, kV base square upon MVA base. So divide all the Rx value by base your base impedance, so you will get that per unit values, and all the load if it is given in kilowatt, suppose it is some node it is there, suppose probably if I recall correctly, I think node 31 or 32, that your real for 33 bus system, that real power is 200 kilowatt, real power reactive power 600 kilowatt is given. So all these things 200 kilowatt, so divide both kilowatt and kilowatt by 1000, it will be megawatt megawatt, then again divide by 100, that is your base MVA, that will be per unit. That means whatever kilowatt data is there, that you divide by 10 to the power 5, and so 1000, that is the, it will convert to megawatt, and 100 MVA base, so 1000 into 100, so 10 to the power 5, so you will get the per unit values. Then similarly in that your what you call that you calculate the load current. In general, ILI is equal to PLI minus JQLI upon VI conjugate, and why it is conjugate I have explained in the load flow studies, previous power system analysis course, here again, right. So all the initial load current you will know, so all the load currents are known, beyond each branch you know all the nodes, so add all these things, it is like a Kirchhoff's first law, right. Algebraic sum of the current meeting at a node is 0, so it is something like a Kirchhoff's law. So find out each branch current, and if you know the each branch current, then I have given no one table is given, branch number, then sending end node, the receiving end node, M1 is equal to JJ, J is the complex operator, that is why I have taken JJ as a branch number. So or what you call M1 is equal to sending node ISJJ, M2 is equal to receiving node IRJJ, you write V, then you write VM2 is equal to VM1 minus, for JJ is equal to 1 to LN1, the LN that is branch number. So you can write no VM2 is equal to VM1 minus JJ into IJJ, accordingly you can solve iteratively. So just it's just a small data preparation if you really do it, 33 bars, but I didn't tell you the identification algorithm, but those papers, distribution, load flow, whatever I have, their algorithms are there for identification of nodes beyond each branch, but I didn't, or what you call, I didn't consider that, right. That was, so just hold on. Then some more questions are there. In context to transmission capacity, two limits are mentioned, thermal capacity limit and static stability limit. My question is, what does term static in stability limit refer to, right. So thermal stability limits means that maximum rating of the your what you call that your current rating of the conductor. Every that is called thermal rating, that means every conductor, just you cannot allow different type of conductors there for transmission line. If I name these, the names are mostly from the animals, right. It is lion, tigers, zebra, like that, and its diameter depends on that, and every conductor has a maximum current carrying capacity and maximum allowable temperature rise, that is actually your what you call thermal limit. And your another thing you are asking, that is the static stability limit. So the static stability limit means, what does it mean exactly I cannot, but perhaps you are trying to tell that maximum your what you call allowable your what you call power capacity, that is if you take a single machine 2 bus system, say V1 V2 upon X sin delta, if delta is equal to 9 degree, that will be V1 V2 upon X if R is neglected, right, that is the maximum allowable your what you call real power, right. Perhaps you wanted to mean that is the your what you call that your static limit, but my question is, it is actually in reality it may not be possible. I do not know that or what you call whether you have done that experiment, right, your power angle or torque angle characteristic in machine lab in your institution. When you do torque angle, say laboratory case also, if machine is running for a generating mode or say motoring mode, you can find in laboratory you can go up to 11 or 12 degree, not even 13, 14, 15 also machine can lose synchronism in the laboratory. Reason is that this is a question to you, that what is the reason, right. Yesterday also here my students are doing that by your torque angle characteristic, and but in reality you cannot go up to that your what you call that V1 V2 upon X sin delta, if delta, that is the theoretical one, but in reality it may not happen, but that limit can be, at least power carrying capacity can be increased by means of fax devices. For example, if you put series capacitors in a line, but a lot of restrictions are there to use series capacitor in a transmission line. Resonance is the one part, subsynchronous resonance, and that also that is beyond the scope. And second thing is for distribution system, perhaps not up to 30, I cannot recall whether series capacitor is there up to 35th lecture or not, but after that I have told that your series capacitor. Now another thing is that your what you call good morning sir, why do you take S is equal to VI conjugate? I am telling from my mouth, not writing, just see that. S generally we take P plus JQ is equal to VI conjugate, Actually, why we conjugate use to capture the power factor angle, just try to understand. For example, otherwise you cannot otherwise you cannot capture the power factor angle. For example, suppose something is given, say V is equal to say 100 angle 30 degree volt, suppose this is given, right. Say I is equal to your 5 angle say minus 15 degree ampere, it is given, right. So question is, suppose this is your reference point, reference line, say this is your reference line, and now so V is equal to 100 angle 30 degree. So this is my V is equal to 100 volt and this is your 30 degree. From the reference line it is leading and current is lagging minus 15 degree. So I is equal to 5 ampere and this is your 15 degree. So what is the power factor angle between voltage and current? That is 30 degree plus 15 degree is equal to 45 degree. So if you take your whatever you are putting the question here right now, that S is equal to P plus JQ, right. So basically what that is, you are writing VI conjugate. If we take P minus JQ, it is V conjugate I, load flow studies. But so in that case your V is equal to your 100 volt and angle is 30 degree and current is I conjugate. So I is 5 minus 50, so I conjugate will be 5 angle 15 degree. So it will be 500 angle 45 degree. That means it will be 500 by root 2, that is cos 45 plus j 500 sin 45, the root 2. So P is equal to your P plus JQ, P is equal to 500 by root 2 watt, right. That is approximately 350 watt and 500 by root 2 approximately 350 kilowatt. That is why conjugate is to capture the power factor angle. But in the load flow studies, what we do, we take P minus JQ is equal to V conjugate I. If you take I conjugate, the mathematical formulation will be difficult. That is why P minus JQ V conjugate I take, that is your what you call, that is for the easy analysis. So conjugate is to capture the power factor angle, but one thing you have to add, that at that time V and I, it will be purely sinusoidal. That thing should be in your mind from the technical, as a technical person. When V and I are purely sinusoidal, then only this P minus JQ is equal to V conjugate I, or whatever putting V plus P plus JQ is equal to VI conjugate, right. Now let me see what you are writing. Is there any transient dynamic limit to look, subtransient thing is there, transient thing is there, steady state is there, that comes that whatever you are telling that comes. Actually one tough course is there for PG course student, that is your power system dynamics and control. Since last year I taught this course for some time, but here it is beyond the scope for this thing. But yes, whatever you are telling, those things for synchronous machines, those things are considered. Then another thing, DC insulator near the conductor is why the insulator disc is string insulator near the conductor is highly stressed, because the string your what you call, whenever we have explained that if you look at the your construction of the tower, you will find that electric stress or this thing because conductor to your what you call that gradient, right, those conductor to the each piece of the your insulator string which will be very close to that your conductor, it will be highly stressed, but which are away, distance is increasing, so naturally the stress will be less. So naturally you will find at the bottommost one as the lowest one, and conductor insulator which is very close to that, it is a higher one, right, for the your what you call, particularly this is for your say suspension type insulator. Then another thing somebody is writing, whether it is practical to install the series compensation by reactor inside of the ferroresonance group. A series compensation as you are telling by reactor, series reactor in spite of ferroresonance effect, no, it is if you use series inductor, then that effective reactance of the line will increase, it will not decrease, right, because in the case of capacitor it will be X minus Xc, and in the case of inductor it will be your X plus your what you call XL, right, or though in that case that reactance will increase. Therefore, what will happen, that instead of voltage drop decreases, voltage drop will increase, because impedance will increase, because it will be R plus jx plus your XL. So, that is not recommended, but shunt reactor, when suppose but shunt reactor, not series, shunt, like shunt capacitor, shunt reactor can be used during light load condition, because during light load condition, that sometimes that your voltage receiving end voltage is your what you call that greater than your sending end voltage, that is a Ferranti effect. We have previous course we have seen. So, if it is in that case, shunt reactor will be useful to bring down that voltage, but series reactor not recommended. Then hold on, who is writing this thing, whether it is thank you sir, slag bus. This is how to find fault point if there is fault in underground. Listen, this thing I have equipment is there, that is good question. Find out fault this underground cable location one. We have a special your equipment, and from that as we try to locate the nearby region, and accordingly fault is detected. But how it is detected, that is beyond the scope. But here our campus is completely underground cable. If fault happens, they follow such things, that a fault can be detected. Just you can see here and there that nearby locations can be detected. And second thing is that somebody said, just hold on, slag bus in the distribution transmission this thing, that I do not know what will be the question. It may be that how to choose slag bus or whatever it is. Previous course slag bus, PV bus, PQ bus, everything has been taught, even P and PQV bus also, which are the new concept came, that if PQV bus is there, P bus has to be there, and slag bus one, the concepts are changing. In distribution system, that slag bus basically we take the substation voltage, and the substation itself is your secondary side of the transformer side, we take that bus is a slag bus, right. And somebody put a question, sir, slag bar, that your bus bar I have seen like your rotor, your conductor or square thing. Actually, it is that all the leads or the terminals connected there. Basically, we call it is a bus bar. Basically, it is a node. It is a node, right? But arrangement is made like that at the substation or at the power station. So, slag bus for the distribution system case, it is your substation we consider, that substation secondary side. And in distribution system generally PV buses are not there, all buses are PQ type buses, but nowadays because of distributed generations, many researchers are also considering some of the buses are PV bus in distribution system. And let me tell you one thing, it is not in your course, I have not covered that, but particularly for the microgrid case, when it is islanded microgrid, when anything network is connected to the grid, then voltage and frequency will be dictated by the grid, right. But as soon as things are isolated, for example, take example your own college, you want to supply power from a separate source which is not connected to the grid. At that time, two important things are required. You have to control the voltage, you have to control the frequency, both, right. So, in that case, what will happen for islanded microgrid case, there is no no question of your what you call that what I will say, that it is slag bus free, because you have connecting, and in that case your Jacobian matrix whatever you form, everything is fine, but there itself it is a slag bus free. This is one thing. Second thing is how to make it, that is beyond the scope. And second thing is that frequency, if we assume that frequency is not constant, then frequency part also come in the Jacobian matrix. Theories and other things slightly, it will be slightly difficult for you, that is why not interested to cover. But some other somebody is putting how to find fault. Then another thing is, sir, overhead line you use 70 this thing disc insulator, but in substation you use 120 this thing disc insulator. This is about this question I was not aware of it, right, that overhead line and this thing, it of course this insulator thing, it depends on the your what you call, it depends on the cross section of the conductor, particularly the overhead transmission line, because the tension has to sustain, right. So, and this question about this one, but in substation we use 120 kilo N disc insulator. I am not aware of this particular thing, right. As you have put it, definitely I will see once that, but this one I can tell, this 70 or 90 depends on the tension of the conductor and the distance, height of the tower, as well as the distance between the tower, right. And another thing is, oh, it is not, it is actually Kirchhoff's law, right. Some people pronounce it as Kirchhoff, but one professor actually told me that exact pronunciation will be Kirchhoff, right. That is the correct pronunciation. When I was a student, one professor told me, because he studied in England, and he told me that exact pronunciation should be Kirchhoff, right. So Kirchhoff, right. So it is not your Kirchhoff, so it is Kirchhoff, it is Kirchhoff's. That is you call Kirchhoff law, Kirchhoff's first law, second law, that is the thing. And then, sir, I was indicating long transmission line where line capacitance is more than reactance. Listen, for long transmission line, series one will be only resistance and reactance, and shunt one will be capacitance, that is the charging capacitance, right. In the series there will be no capacitance, no capacitive reactance. In the series it is your it is line resistance and reactance, and if you put series inductor, then naturally inductance will increase, and capacitance actually line to ground, right, charging capacitance. So it is and in that case, if you want to put shunt capacitors are there, I tell you at every substation you will find shunt capacitors are there, but reactor, that if you want to use reactor, some places long time back I see one 220 kV substation, I have seen that reactor was there, shunt reactor was there, but no use of your series reactor. Your impedance will increase because reactance will increase. So that is the thing. And so another things are indicating that I told you that this is the thing. And another point is, here somebody has put that how to be a good at power system in each and every section. This is up to you, how much you study, how many good books you are following, right. So this is a your this is up to you, right. Then let me see where anything is here. What are the important core concept in this subject? Somebody had put this question, right. So important core concept in this subject is, look, generally your insulator cables, then corona, then sag and tension, then your the transient over voltages, everything has been covered, right. In addition to that, core concept is that distribution load flow, and according and in addition to that approximation method and your series shunt compensation, series compensation, and everything has been covered, such that with the current train you will have a good ideas. In addition to that, I have covered in detail that will come later, that is your load frequency control, right. So this also has been covered in detail, and also I have given flavor of that load frequency control or automatic generation control in a your brief sense, such that you can understand. But when this topic will come, let me tell you one thing. I don't know whether you can visualize from here or not. Generally, when you will study, somebody is writing load frequency control, somebody is writing say automatic generation control, slight difference is there. For that, if you want, you read that book of Professor P.S. Kundur, not professor, he was very old now, he is engineer at Ontario Hydro in Canada. P.S. Kundur book, right, power system, I think title is Power System Dynamic Stability. So somebody has question transients limit or something, those things are also available in that book. So generally, that automatic generation control is equal to load frequency control plus economic load dispatch, right. If economic load dispatch you are not considering, then automatic generation control is equal to load frequency control, right. This is a simple way I am trying to tell you. So those economic load dispatch actually has been covered in that your previous power system analysis course. Now actually what happened, that just try to visualize, suppose suddenly at this moment say power system load has increased to 100 megawatt, right, and suppose you have 5, for only consider as a thermal generator. Suppose you have 5 thermal generating units, assume that all the generating unit have the spinning reserve, right. Spinning reserve also explained I think in the previous course, this time also brief description is explanation is there in unit commitment, right, later it will come. That means every generator is capable of supplying power. So now suppose if it is 100 megawatt and every generator has the fuel cost characteristic which has been covered in your optimal operation of power system in the previous power system analysis course, right. Different generator has different fuel characteristic. Now if I say 20 megawatt to 5 units, then it may not be your economical, it may not be economical, right, as far as fuel cost is concerned. So that 100 megawatt power you share among the 5 units in such a fashion such that your fuel cost will be minimum, right. Accordingly, the signal will go to these 5 generating units and those generating units will generate power accordingly. For example, one unit may be 33 megawatt, another unit may generate say 13 megawatt like this, but total is 100, right. That means economic load dispatch is coming, and after that signal will be received by your what you call that each generating unit, and accordingly power they will generate such that fuel cost will be minimum. Another thing is, although not taught in that your what you call in that course, it will be little bit heavy for you, that for the load frequency control part, that your generally that 2 outputs are measured. One is that your frequency deviation, another is that if it is the interconnected system, then the power deviation that is flowing, that is suppose two interconnected system connected by tie line, means it is a 3-phase transmission line actually, and the power deviation, these two are measured, right, and accordingly your what you call a signal is formed, and that actually controls the frequency and the power flow deviation. So in that case, that suppose in a particular power plant you have 3 or 4 generating units, and we assume that all the generators they swing in unison in a particular power plant. That means they are in coherent group, that means their increase or decrease speed we are assuming it is same, such that mathematical modeling will be easier. So those details for load frequency control and your what you call everything is considered in this course. But regarding let me tell you, regarding unit commitment, I found that it will be too heavy for you for undergraduate level. That is why unit commitment part I have finished in only the brief thing, and I have told you only dynamic programming method how to solve it, but and very if you take larger step length how to make this evaluation, and that is all, and constant and other things not considered. I found it will be too heavy for you. So basically for unit commitment you will give, I have just given the flavor. Later I realized that it will be a little bit heavier for you, but automatic generation control or the distribution now till from this distribution side to till automatic generation control or load frequency control, you will find things will be very interesting for you, and you will see that how we have made it. And if you have any queries anything, you can send me the mail and this thing. Just hold on, several other question. Nowadays we talk about wireless power. Yes, research is going on all over the world regarding this wireless power, right? And this is actually right now you cannot supply that your what you call industry or running your locomotive train, electric engine, that wireless power, but research has started. I have also seen couple papers coming up, research paper coming up on wireless power, and hope that in near future. At present you are young, perhaps when you will come to my age, at that time something will be definitely developed, because technology or science is moving fast, right. At that time I may not be, I will not be on this earth, I will vanish into the blue, but at that time when you will come to my age, definitely you will see that wireless power is coming up. But whatever I have seen here and there, that laboratory stage they have made something, right, few hundred, say few meters away, that light will be on, switch through wireless only. So in that case the design of your light, fan, AC, everything has to be changed. But hopefully one day it will come that like your mobile tower, your that tower will be there and power will come into your residence. That will happen, definitely will happen in future, that people are thinking about, people are all over the world, they are doing research on that regarding wireless power, right. So, but at present that situation hasn't come that we can teach in the class at present, but I have seen the articles are coming up, but they are not only electrical engineering, that electronic side or communication side engineers are also required. Only electrical whatever you are studying, it is not sufficient for that. And like your the way we receive your mobile your what you call mobile tower you have and you receive the signal, same way hopefully it will come in near future. Near future means exact we also do not know, maybe after 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but technology is moving very fast. Same example for electric vehicles, that is battery driven vehicles, right, and that also is coming very fast. But if you overnight if you change all the vehicles to battery electric, all the petrol or diesel engine to electric vehicles, you cannot, because you have to charge the electric vehicles. So power, then those electric vehicles have the batteries, and charging, when you charge all the electric vehicles together, say thousands or lakhs of, that power station don't have that much of power to generate if you charge everything at the same time. But many countries battery charging station are there, and electric vehicle charge, but fast charging technique is required if you charge at a battery charging station. Those things are coming up, and these are for your future thing. In our country or this thing, at least we call that three-wheeler auto, we call Toto, those are battery driven, right. So many Totos are there, in Kharagpur also maybe more than 300 Totos are there, right, those are battery driven. So it is good for, it is a green power and good for your what you call for your environment. And another somebody has said, sir, is it wise to follow admission matrix in place of negative sequence, or watt metric, or zero sequence voltage directional earth fault, right. Look, as you are telling, this course is not related to that negative sequence or watt metric or those who are doing research, they follow certain different thing, but as far as classroom is concerned, this is not required. But particularly for fault studies, another thing, that your what you call positive, negative or zero sequence, they have some different technique. Even I know something, somebody has done something interesting for unbalanced system also fault, but that is beyond the scope. So I mean, it depends on you. If you can find out something new, whatever existing is okay. If you try to find out something new, it is okay. But whether it is wise or not, I cannot tell you, because I do not do research on the fault studies. My research actually totally limited to your distribution system, and nowadays to microgrid and distributed generation, renewable sources, etc. Right? And sir, why to have separate signal and power and this thing? Actually, just now I told that frequency, actually what they do, that they combine these two signals, right. When load frequency topic will be covered, you will see that one characteristic there we call frequency response characteristic. So in generally what happen, that in a power system, that if load demand changes, for example, that because throughout the day, just try to listen, throughout the day that power is changing continuously, both real power and reactive power, but as long as they are changing in a small magnitude, like say delta, suppose if real power demand is PL, say changing in the form of delta PL, small continuous changing is there, because switch on switch off is there. So if small real power changes, in that case what happen, it affects your what you call that your frequency, that means voltage angle, hence the frequency, right, and it leaves the burst voltage magnitude unaffected. So in that case what happen, that whenever some small disturbance come in power system, that generator actually it cannot generate power immediately to supply that load, because look, this is basically a physical system, like we all human being also, we have some physical constraint. If I ask you to run 100 meter, in your 10 second you cannot make, everybody cannot be Usain Bolt, right, 9 point, I think, I don't know the world record, maybe 9.58 or 57 second. If I ask you to, but one day this record also will be broken, right. So if I ask you to run 100 meter in 9 seconds, you cannot do that because physical constant. Similarly, machine also has physical constant. So that suppose somewhere load demand has increased 10 megawatt and generator immediately cannot generate that 10 megawatt. It has some physical constant, it cannot generate, right. So in that case what will happen, as soon as that, suppose when the power demand has increased, so what happened, that initially what happened, that turbine and generator is a huge mass, right, and it is rotating at a synchronous speed, and because of this the frequency will slightly decrease, but it will never lose synchronism, and machine will never go out of step. So in that case there will be sudden loss, of kinetic energy, right, but machine is in synchronism, it is but slightly deviated from the synchronous speed, but synchronism is not lost, right, because this your what you call loss of kinetic energy, where it will go, little bit it will be in the form of friction, windage, or your thermal loss, etc. and very, although it is very small, but that energy actually will be converted into power and it will be going to the grid. For that you read only Elgad's book, that electric energy system, it is by McGraw-Hill, right, I think Tata McGraw-Hill, right, and the footnote this reason is given in the load frequency control. That is why I think O.I. Elgad book I have given in the reference book, you read that. But after that what happened, because suppose there is no controller, generator cannot bring the power to the 10 megawatt, then what will happen, as the frequency deviates from it, suppose it is a 50 hertz system, say before the disturbance it was operating at 50 hertz, now because of this the frequency will go down and it will attain a steady state value, say 49.9 hertz. So what will happen, you will find after when it attains the steady state, you will find generation has matched the load, right, but it is at the departure of the system frequency. So system frequency is never at 50 hertz, it will be operating at 49.9 hertz, right. So that the cost of departure of frequency, that system is operating without any control mechanism. Now if you and this comes actually, you see the load frequency chapter, when it will be uploaded later, you see the frequency response characteristic, right, there everything is explained, and that is why two signals are taken. There is a term called frequency response characteristic beta, right, that has been defined in load frequency control chapter. So if B, then we call some frequency bias, as I said two signals you said, one is frequency, another is power deviation. In general we form this signal as area control error, because also deviation is a frequency error and tie line power is also deviation is a power error. We combine these two, we call area control error, that is we call B into delta F plus delta p I, right. So that B actually is a frequency bias constant. Now if B is equal to beta, the area frequency response characteristic, I am telling now because you will not get the recorded version, but in video lecture I have shouted several times, just listen once again, that B is equal to beta, where that beta actually your area frequency response characteristic. In general for a single system, if I recall the formula, that your beta area frequency response characteristic, if load disturbance is delta PL, then beta is equal to minus delta PL upon your D plus 1 upon R, right. When lecture will be there, you just see that. So in that case what will happen, that for any system recommended value, that frequency bias B should be is equal to beta. In that case what happen actually, if two power systems are interconnected or more, does not matter, suppose 1, 2, 3, this kind of thing, I hope many teachers also will be there, they also will be listening, right. So if two power system is there, suppose this is area 1, this is area 2, the two power systems are there, suppose load disturbance has happened here, suppose it was initially PL, now it has changed to PL plus delta PL, right. So this load change is there, and this is your area 1, there may be many generators here, right, and I am just putting G1, G2. So in that case what will happen, it is expected that these generators in this area 1, it must accommodate its own load. assuming that it has sufficient spinning reserve to accommodate its own load. Otherwise, it has to this load it has to borrow power from this area. Here also load is there, here also load is there, right. So, in that case what will happen, that if we keep B is equal to beta, the frequency area response characteristic, then this particular only at steady state you will see this generator will accommodate its own load, and this load disturbance delta PL will be completely unobservable by this generator 2 area, right. Only during transient you will find some changes in generation, but at steady state when you look into that, it will be completely unobservable by this disturbance will be completely unobservable by this generator, right. This and this is your tie line, this is your tie line, what you call that tie line, this is your tie line, right. And but if your beat, that is your one thing, the load frequency control you see when B is equal to beta. When B greater than beta, in that case what will happen, it will not be completely unobservable. In that case you will find at steady state this one also has to generate some power, this one also had to generate some power, depends on the B1 B2 value or beta 1 B2 value of this thing, right. If B greater than beta, that means the load disturbance here will not be completely unobservable. So, that is actually not desirable, B greater than beta, and if it is B less than beta, another phenomena will happen. In that case, that this whenever two areas are connected means it is basically cooperative assistance between the two areas, right. So, at that time you will find if it is this, then even if suppose this area it needs power from this, you will find this tie line power help will be completely withdrawn. Before anything happens, you will find it will move to your what you call to its come back to its original value without your helping this, right. So, this is also not desirable. Best one is this one is desirable. And another thing is B greater than beta is also possible, right, but this less than beta is not at all it is not against it is go against the standard practice, it is not at all, right. So, that is why your what you call that load frequency control chapter, it has, that is why two signals are used and both will be controlled such that if controller is there, then at steady state you will find when generation and loads are matched, at steady state you will find both frequency deviation will become 0. Frequency deviation 0 means frequency will come back to its nominal value, and your what you call tie power deviation also will come back to its 0. That means tie line power flow also will come back to its scheduled value. That is why whatever the two signals are required. Let me see. Actually, somebody has said that grading of cables. Actually, you have to see the electrical trace. That any string which is very close to the your what you call to that your that conductor, right, it is given in your in our cable thing, it is very, I mean if any string is very close to that your what you call that your conductor, when we are measuring V1 V2 V3, right, we are moving away from the conductor, at that time you will find that which is very close to that string which is very close to the conductor, that is electrical trace across it is higher, and when it is coming to the bottom it will be less because we are moving away from the conductor. And in that insulator part, that why it is more or less, I think I have made everything or what you call every explanation. And another one, just see, sir please explain grading of cable. Another thing, neutral wire is used to complete the circuit, but when we touch an open wire we do not get electric shock. Open wire means I do not know which side you are talking of, right. Whether at the residence we give your what you call that your this thing, that one phase and two neutral, right. And I do not know that when we touch an open wire we do not get electric shock. Open wire means what you want to mean, I do not know that this thing, but in our house I have got electric shock, right, and many others also because of this. I do not know if it is a live wire, then definitely you will get electric shock if you are in bare feet, and otherwise if it is a shoe is acting as your this thing insulator, so you may not get shock. Then sir, nowadays wireless power, why to have separate signal, that I told you. And grading of cables, there is again he said, sir, please explain. That again I told you, just you see some Yasir Bhika, he has put this question. I see that insulator thing again, that everything has been explained there, that at the bottom the stress is less, and at that your nearby your conductor the stress is more. And anything is coming, just let me see whether I have missed or not. And nothing. And let me this thing, anything I have missed or not, just any more questions if you have, you can put, right. And any other thing, if you ask me to tell, then I have to tell you that in the distribution system, at no load and heavily loading and line loadability, it is explained uncompensated. It is again your not related to this power system engineering course, but let me tell you, uncompensated transmission line at no load and heavily loading and line loadability. First thing is that line loadability in general is that before it's your what you call lost the voltage stability part, right. And distribution system voltage stability has been covered in this power system engineering course, and there your line loadability also has been explained, particularly distance thing is this thing. As long as you know line loadability case means suppose of course it depends, sometimes it is a I mean when it goes for voltage collapse, it is a slow phenomena, slowly and slowly it goes down. But in general case, suppose in general suppose load is increasing, you assume the load is increasing for the theoretical or academic interest, you assume this way. Say just 1 minute, let me have a little bit of water, right. Suppose you are increasing the load, so in that case the voltage magnitude will go down, and slowly the voltage will decrease, and in all the nodes it will decrease, but you will find one particular node where it decreases much more than the other node, right. If it is uniformly increased, so at certain point you will find that it will collapse. That means theoretically when there will be no solution, right, of that your power flow solution, say, right. So it will collapse, and before that point, but exact collapse point, it is just now your what you call just and just like that you increase the load knot. If you want more accurate result, some technique is there, right, to find out the exact value and exact collapse point. And second thing is that your that uncompensated line, and yourself please explain uncompensated transmission line at no load. Uncompensated transmission line, if line is at no load, say high tension transmission line, so generally what happens, that Ferranti effect comes, right. Generally you will find that your receiving end voltage will be greater than your sending end voltage, right, and in your uncompensated case. So generally at light load condition, because load is very less, and at that time your what you call that if you suppose if voltage say much higher than that, suppose if it happens that voltage is more than your, suppose your desirable voltage is 1.05 per unit, say higher voltage, and if you want to bring it down and it is more than that, say 1.05, 06, 07, it has gone, you bring it down, then one way is for transmission line that that shunt reactors will bring it down to that voltage. If you have a shunt reactor, if that situation arises like this, and but in the case of your distribution system nowadays, that and another thing you said some limit that what you call transmission line and heavily loaded or line loadability. And another thing is that just if you increase the your what you call that your what you call the your power, that voltage will go down. But remember one thing, that that is for the academic interest, but question is that that every transmission line conductor has the thermal limit, right. That is the maximum current or maximum power carrying capability, and if you consider that one also, that this limit should not be violated for every branch, naturally there you have to restrict, that you cannot just go on increasing the load, you have to restrict that your what you call the thermal limit of the conductor, that also you need to, you have to consider. But just for the sake of academic interest, if you go on increasing, naturally voltage will fall and fall. Then another thing is somebody is putting question that why does Europe get use DC power and the US has to AC power. Let me tell you something. Before that you are regarding your compensator line, and there are many places because you are connecting distributed generation, right, in many places. So because of that that voltage rise is an issue when you are putting the distributed generators on the distribution side. Sometimes voltage may go be above 1.05 per unit. The limit is your 0.95 to 1.05 say. So if it is more than 1.05, right, so you have to mitigate the voltage rise because the limit is 1.05. So particularly in the distribution side, what they are putting it, they are allowing your, suppose wind generator is wind turbine generator is there, that wind turbine generators, let it operate at the leading power factor. So that means when it operates at leading power factor means that it injects real power, but it absorbs reactive power from the source. So when it is taking reactive power from the source, that means its current through each branch, right, will increase, because that reactive current is increasing. Current is generally ID plus JIQ, that say in general, IQ may be negative or positive, does not matter, but IQ actually is increasing. So naturally current is increasing, therefore voltage drop in each branch will increase, hence the receiving end side voltage will go on decreasing, so it will mitigate the voltage rise. And nowadays that DC microgrid is coming, it is not Europe that DC is coming up for some applications, and slowly DC is also getting some importance. Several years back Tesla was in favor of AC, and but because at that time Tesla and Edison both, if I recall the history, Tesla and Edison both were together, but Tesla was in favor of AC, right, and Edison in those days maybe was in favor of DC. But let me tell you, when Swami Vivekananda visited United States, he met Tesla. Whatever little bit I read about this, that Swami Vivekananda visited Tesla's lab in consecutive 7 days, and there was a very heart to heart talking between Tesla and Swami Vivekananda. This I have read somewhere, right. But Tesla actually came out from Edison and he was favoring your AC. Tesla used to dream wireless power, used to dream that whole environment to be illuminated, right. So DC nowadays, because of DC microgrid, some applications of DC are there, DC is also coming up, but it is not overnight, that already this system is existing more than 100 years. Overnight you cannot just make it all AC to DC, it is impossible, right. But DC is coming up, particularly DC microgrid research is coming, some small applications are also there. So DC is coming up, it is not Europe that it or this thing, but Europe is many countries, they are more in favor of wind power generation. This is one thing, and second thing is that your what you call that many they are coming with that electric vehicles also, but at the same time you have to see the population, right. We are huge population, that also you have to consider, right. And so but in our country also slowly electric vehicles will also come, right. DC power also slowly will come, right. And because all this your what you call, all this you have to take into consideration. But one thing I have to tell, that our electricity system, that power system, everything is very good actually. You have to think this country is a very big country, right, and you have to consider that our power system is very good. Yeah, I will say our Indian power system is very good, right. This is always I stress, right, and this is one thing, and and you have to, you know, that the DC thing will take time. DC distribution also people are talking of, but let me tell you one thing regarding whatever distribution AC distribution you are solving. If I give you a similar DC distribution network, the solving technique will be different, right. So these are the thing, and let me tell who says how sir, how the total sir, a travelling wave is formed due to surges, then the ending point is lighting arrestor is nearby substation. Every substation lightning arrestor is there, and they take the intensity of the surges, what will be the maximum intensity. Over the years they study this, right, and based on that so the arrestor was not taught here, very little bit I have touched according to design, but sometimes you will find, I have seen in the substation, that because of this lightning your surges, the arrestor also got completely damaged. Maybe because the surge strength was much more than what arrestor rating had, right. Actually open wire was that neutral wire, sorry for the incomplete question, actually the open wire was a neutral wire, right. As you are telling, open wire is a neutral wire. I think if the neutral wire is open, you may not, and you have touched it one side, you may not, you have to see what is the potential at the neutral wire, right. That was the thing, and it is basically line to neutral wire. So it is open, you have not got shocked it, I have not experienced it. So I cannot tell your exact answer of this, but I think even it is open, actually you may not get shock in the neutral wire, but if it is a live wire open conductor, you will get the shock, because you have to see the neutral your what to call that neutral potential, it is a balance system. And then if so, generally the lightning arrestor used in substation is of nonlinear resistance. Actually whenever you see at the substation that there will be small cable will be there before entering to the substation, or transformer is there, or this thing. Actually that cable is put because your what you call that cable, actually it helps to reduce the strength of the surges, lighting. I mean if lightning surges happens, right, and this is one thing that they put a small length of cable, and because the cable also has capacitance, and that is why the stiffness also of the surge will decrease, right. So one is that it reduce the your what you call the peak value of the surges, and the steepest form, that also because of that cable is added, and cable has the capacitance. So that is why it will also what you call reduce the stiffness of that your what you call that your surges, right. So that is why a small cable is put. So and the substation arrestor is there, transformer is also there. So before transformer, this thing, the small length of cable they put because of these two reasons. And then this one I have to experience. So whatever question you have put, I have not experienced this, you have to put this one. Look, we actually this one also somebody is putting why ground wire is not used in power distribution houses. This question I right now I have no answer, that why ground wire is not used in distribution houses. I have to see this one. I have to see this one. It will be keep in I will keep it in my mind. If possible, I will put it in the forum. Let me see this one. I have rightly not touched with this thing. That is your why ground wire is not used in distribution houses, but neutral wire is there. Neutral wire is there, and you are telling is not used in distribution houses, but earthing will be there. I think in the houses, in our old houses, I have seen this one. This one I have to see this. This question put somebody Samasri, right? Then somebody said I should refer to know that the state estimation in power system. Samasri, this question I will put it why ground wire is, whether it is used or not, but in our old house where I have seen the ground wire, I will check it once, right. And the state estimation is basically a PG course, right, and it and this I have not taught you any time, right, and it is not you know, as far as classroom is concerned, very small problem can be solved, and in that case your what you call that your but large scale, it is basically a PG course. For PG power system course, I have taught this one. I have taught this one for few years, but here any power system course I cannot your what you call teach this course. It will be too heavy for the undergraduate student. For PG also they cannot solve many things in the class unless and until they write code, because a lot of complication is there for your static state estimation as well as dynamic both, right. And these are the standard question, and anything else, just let me see here if anything is there or not. Whatever one print out I got. Somebody put some questions that for hollow, in the forum it has been answered, I think. For corona loss, if it is a hollow conductor or square conductor, how things will be. I think in the forum this has been that you are selling not houses, in distribution towers. Distribution actually, if you distribution transformer, if you see that they are basically star connected, right. If you see that your 11 kV distribution transformer, you are telling that sir not houses but in the your this thing, you will find that your what you call that your distribution transformer, they are basically primary secondary side, that 11 kV side basically is star connected. So that is why whatever transmission, whatever 3-phase distribution line you have seen 11 kV, here also outside our campus also you will see there is no ground wire is provided. It is basically just a 3-phase star, your what you call it is a star connection. So that is why not, but whenever you need that your what you call line to your neutral voltage, right, a line to line voltage is there, then from 11 kV assuming that 11 kV some small scale industry sometimes they need power at 11 kV, otherwise this 11 kV transformer again it will be your step down to 11 kV by 440 volt transformer and it goes to the distribution line, right. So generally if you see that your my power system analysis course, there are all sort of connection, delta delta, delta star, star delta, star delta, and where it is used, it has been explained everything in power system analysis course, right. So another thing is that somebody is putting what are problems come into picture when neutral is not grounded. Suppose if neutral is not grounded, that false strategy of studied star star connection or this thing, many cases neutral are grounded. So if neutral are grounded, you know what happens. If fault happens, where that fault current circulated close to the ground, right. So generally you will find that neutral is your what you call for different, depends on the different type of connection, you will find the neutral is grounded. Then any other thing, but your so many questions from various part. I do not know you people from where you are, but from various part of the country, right. And I will suggest that your so somebody put a radial distribution network can be solved. Oh, somebody put a question in that Google Sheet also. I miss it, whether C, C++ or C sharp whatsoever, right. My question is, the packages are available nowadays, but if you use any packages, then input you are giving something and output you are getting something, in between it is a black box. So my suggestion is, instead of using packages, if you write code of your own, that will be more interesting, right. You will get the flavor of it, right. But if you use packages, then input you are giving and output you are getting. So in that case what will happen, in between it is a black box. So if you know, look, I till 10 years back I used to write code of my own, and that was in Fortran 95. But nowadays C, C++, C sharp is much better. I have heard that C, first you have to learn C, then only C++ you can learn. So you can write code in C or C++, it doesn't matter, right? Then you will get the flavor, and it is easy to write the code, right? Easy to write the code. So and what only I have showed that your what you call that your radial distribution network. But whatever, but another thing is there. If distribution network is a loop or mesh distribution network, same method can be applied. Whatever I have told with some modification that I have not taught to you. It will be little bit heavy for the undergraduate student. But same methodology can be applied if it is a mesh distribution network. But that I have not covered. So I suggest that those nowadays nowadays you have to write code, and it is better rather than this thing. Then if you are good in coding, then if you have time you can write the code. Similarly for this one, similarly for your load frequency control also, Simulink, MATLAB Simulink you can do it, load frequency control part. Even the load flow distribution also, maybe many packages are available in, I mean even in MATLAB also you can find many packages are available, right? And even it is not whatever load flow technique I have told, that is for easy. Even couple Newton Raphson if you use, that also will solve your network, right? But this technique which I have taught, method 1, method 2, that is easier than couple Newton Raphson method, and that is for balanced system. But technique which I have taught with some modifications, same technique can be applied to your unbalanced distribution network, right? That is also possible. So and as mostly your what you call that nowadays things are changing, and axis is our electrical engineering is changing. It is shifting to microgrid, distributed generation, renewable sources, right? Then DC microgrid, AC microgrid, AC DC microgrid. So day by day things are becoming actually complicated, right? It is not easy. It is not easy. When you are thinking about microgrid, things are not easy, right? So that's why more core thinking, particularly electrical engineering and all sort of your, and power electronics also playing a big role in your what you call in your microgrid side, right? Because without power electronics you cannot move. So these are very, I mean these are the topic which are you are getting more and more importance nowadays, right? Particularly the renewable power sources, anyway. Renewable power sources, that whenever we talk of, two things come in our mind. One is solar, another is wind. Of course, next one biomass. It is renewable but dispatchable because it is synchronous generator based, right? But whereas because for biomass power can be controlled, whereas solar and wind it depends on the nature, right? For solar it totally depends on the sun, right? And for wind it depends on the wind velocity and totally climatic behavior, right? So these things are getting importance. In addition to that, fuel cell is coming up, right? So battery is getting a lot of importance nowadays. Lot of research is going on batteries, right? To your what you call as a power source. So all these things are coming up for the future, right? So that's why my more interest is on distribution side as far as research is concerned, and as well as the microgrid side, right? This is whatever you have seen at the substation, I have also seen, right? This is actually copper strip or copper bar they use at, it is sometimes you can see hollow also, right? Basically that your what you call that they connect all the three-phase line coming up and going out, right? And hollow conductor actually copper, your corona loss will be less, right? I will show you. I have during my course I told I will show some photograph of the corona, just see whether you can see it or not. This is actually that how the corona being formed, right? This is one photograph. This is Turan-Goennan book, and this is another form of corona, like very high tension line. It is laboratory test, but this is how the corona is formed, right? This is actually corona testing of conductor in laboratory environment, right? This is actually corona, and this is how corona happens. And this book is a very good book. I don't know whether it is available or not. This is actually Electric Power Transmission System Engineering, Analysis and Design by Turan-Goennan. This book is a really very good book, right? So this is actually, I told you, I will show you some photograph, and somebody said that sir, that transmission line, where is that shielding wire and this, that. If you look at the transmission tower, you will find it is at the top, right? It is there, but that doesn't mean that lightning stroke will happen on the top of the tower. It may directly sometime hit to the conductor, right? So this is what corona this thing. And regarding this grounding part, I have to go through little bit, right, because I am not in touch with the grounding part, that earth grounding or your what you call the resistance grounding. After all, we all are human being, we cannot recall all these things together. But as you are asking this, that your different your resistance grounding and your earthing resistance earthing system. So grounding has a certain, it follows certain technique, that what will be your resistive grounding or your earthing, it follows certain some techniques are there. So I am not familiar with this topic, but as you are telling, I will ask my TS to put the answer of this. First let me go through it, because I am not in touch with this grounding part. So this question I have right now, I have no answer. Yeah, I am by heart I am very clear. If I know, I will tell you yes I know. If I don't know, then I have to tell you that I will read this part. I am not in touch for several years. I am not at all in touch, but I will go through it. I will ask my TS to put this question, this thing, because it is not related to this course also. So I am not in touch with this. Right. After all, we are all human beings. We cannot answer everything at the same moment. Right. But if you ask anything regarding distribution system, DGs, or your what you call microgrid, I can try to answer all these things, or related to load frequency control, or related to your what you call that capacitor application. I think somebody put some question, I do not know, that regarding shunt capacitor or something, but I told you that why shunt capacitor is used, but generally in distribution system series capacitors are not used, although I have taught series capacitor for distribution things, how things are, but generally shunt capacitors are used. 2 or 3 shunt capacitors you will find many places in the world, they use shunt capacitors in the distribution line, right, they use it. And anything else? I cannot see all of you, but you can see me or this thing, right, but I always imagine that many of you are sitting in front of this thing, in front of me, right. Then actually that because of that glazy thing, right, that glaziness should be there from the point of view of porcelain or glass, such that dust formation or dirt formation on the insulator should not be there, right. Then you will get a conducting path and easy leakage path. So that's why they use your what you call glazy part of that, your upper portion of the insulator, right, glazy, or that's why porcelain or glass, not other thing. And when they manufacture, they make all sort of your what you call all sort of test before putting it. Even in railway traction line, you will see that your what you call that your sometimes you will find some kind of corona formation near the insulator, particularly rainy season. Although voltage level is low, but some kind of you will see that some flashover will be there, right, not corona, actually flashover will be there, particularly the rainy season time. But even that also you will find it is a glazy one, right. It has to be porcelain or glass, that is recommended from this point of view. And the travelling wave is not happening every time, and that happens actually particularly when lightning surges come, right. And as much and whatever lightning surges little bit whatever covered, I have covered from this book only, from Turan Goinan book. I think I don't know right now whether I will find out from where it is, right, but from this book only I have covered here. This diagram I have taken from this book only. This is there in lightning arrestor. This one also have been shown, right, and your what you call, and this is your another your what you call the bundle conductors under corona, right. This is something lightning impulse flashover test. They are real one, but flashover test, right. This is also of this book. So this is another one. This is another one, right. This bundle conductor exposed to man-made lightning. This is the man-made lightning, right. So this from this book only, and these are the diagram whatever I have shown. This is I have taken from this book. This book actually everything is written in very nice fashion. So that's why this book I have followed. That is your electric power transmission system engineering. right. So these are the your what you call this, but it is not a regular phenomena, but when it comes heavily, right. You have to protect everything. Without protection, nothing can be done. And I will suggest many of you have your what you call taken this practically important dialectic. Does it has any relation with relative permittivity? Actually, in reality, that whatever has been shown, that is theory, right, and that is theory. Reality, I have told you, it is not used, right. Different type of dialectic is not used in reality, but as far as theory, that is shown that this way it can be done, but in reality it is not there. Really, and let me tell you one thing, underground cable up to for example, in our campus also underground cable 11 kV cable is there, but mostly it is overhead distribution power distribution system in many countries, in our countries also, because that overhead cable actually is actually very expensive, right. Cable is expensive, and this is one point. Another thing is, for high tension line for cable, it will be too expensive, and that's why for your what you call up to 11 kV it is okay, and another point is cable. If fault is there, you locate the fault, then fault detection and the repairing and cable jointing of all the thing, it takes time, right. So whatever you are this thing, does it have any relation with relative permittivity? That's I told you that we show in the theory, right, and but in reality we just suppose in a 3-phase line, 3 conductors, and among them the insulations are there, and then after that so many layers are there, right. And somebody says, sir, please explain about concentric solar power generation in next session. Look, QEEE lecture will be there next thing. So actually solar power is not the what you call is not the syllabus of this course. That will be completely renewable power generation course, right. So the renewable power generation I have taught here in our PG course. We have renewable power generation, I have taught here, but for this course I cannot teach that, right, because it is not related to this course. In future, if of course at present not, in future if I take renewable power generation course, at that time I will try, but question is that I have to see the audience first, that solar power, renewable power generation. So in that case I have to cover everything in detail, and it will take time. So please don't ask me that in next week, next Thursday, QEEE will be there. There I will try to tell something whatever has been given in the video lecture, right. But question is that please don't ask me to teach that whatever you want, right. This is not beyond this thing. Otherwise, I have taught renewable power generation for PG, not for and many UG students also used to take the course. This is common for UG and PG, both UG and PG, right. That. This is a very interesting question. This is I will tell you, once I was listening a very good lecture, somebody I mean who is the pioneer of your what you call that your PMU and other things, several years back I was listening his lecture. So for example, relay, he was taking this is hidden, this is what you are telling, it is a hidden fault. Right, suppose some relay, before putting it or commissioning it in the power plant, you tested everything, relay is fine. Suppose 1000 different relays you have tested, out of which one is suppose faulty, but you do not know, but you have installed it. How to detect it? I have no answer to this. So whatever your question is, sir, everything is done after that. That means it is hidden fault, so there is no answer. And I don't know whether any practical engineer can answer this or not. I have some doubt. Right, because you have tested everything. As long as you are testing, suppose 1000 same thing, suppose 1000 ceiling fan you have tested, right, and you find everything. Out of one, it has become defective. but you do not know. When all thousands are used, you find one is not moving, one has become defect, but you do not know. This is hidden fault. I have no answer. I don't know whether any practical engineer can have answered this or not, but this is a very good question. So that's why I am talking about hidden fault of relay, right. This also he told that this is the hidden fault, but I have listened his answer, your presentation, fantastic presentation very nicely, but I didn't find any answer for this. Is called hidden fault. I have also no answer. Suppose some patient is checked for some disease, doctor makes all medical tests, nothing is found, and immediately after that or after 1 or 2 days, whether some disease has caught or not, you do not know. So these are hidden things, and I don't know whether I have no answer. I don't know whether practical engineers can have answer or not. I have no ideas, right. So whatever you question you are asking, that is that it shows that you are intelligent. This much I have to tell, right. So now something is multiplication of 11 to 220 kV. There is no reason. There is no reason. Different country has different thing. 11 in our country, several years back, I have seen in Himachal Pradesh 22 kV cable is there, 15 kV cable is there, but 11, 33, 66, 132, 220, all are multiplication of 11. There is as such no reason. Some vague reason people give, right, but that vague reason I don't want to tell here. Even this morning I have asked my TAs, have you seen any such reason? Maybe he is listening now, but let me tell you, he said that this is the reason. I said this is a vague reason, so I will not tell you. So there is no such reason. USA and Canada has different voltage level. Europe also 11 kV is there, maybe other voltage level is there, but there is multiplication. But after 220 kV it is 400 kV. It is not multiplication of 11. After that 765, after that 1200 kV line also there. Those are not multiplication of 11. So this tradition, this standard is coming over the years, right. So you just overnight you cannot change the standard. So it is moving, it is going on. So there is no reason, but vague reason. If you ask me in front rather than this your video listening, then I can tell you the answer. If anybody in the forum also, I have asked my TAs not to give such answers, right. But some vague answer is there. Many people tell like this, but that is not correct, right. So this is one thing. Synchronous motor and synchronous generator. Nowadays the synchronous motor is not used for that, but synchronous generator means it is at the power station because it is synchronous generator. So it operates at generally 0.85 power factor, right. So generally it generate what you call it needs excitation. So it has to generate reactive power. So that reactive power is not sufficient sometimes to your what you call to supply the reactive part of the load, right. So that's why fax devices are used, but forget about fax devices, say simple shunt capacitors are used. So because of these shunt capacitors, it also compensates your what you call the reactive part of the load. Details, mathematics, numerical, everything has been covered in this course, and this is now only up to the your 7th assignment is going on. You will find, probably you will find it in the 8th assignment, the lecture 36 to 40 or after that. All derivation, everything has been given, and that is also that basic flavor has been taken from the another book of electric power distribution system by the same author Turan Goennan. That book is electric power distribution system, right. So everything has been explained there. So you just go through it, and everything has been done. But regarding reactive power, so this is the thing. So that's why that every substation if you go, you will find that most of the cases shunt capacitors are connected. They follow certain thumb rule. What thumb rule? As video lecture live I will not tell you, but if you come to me, because before coming to teaching I was working somewhere in Delhi for 3 years. So at that time we had a lot of your distribution project. So from there I developed the interest on the distribution side, right. Although my PhD topic was not distribution side, it is different topic, but from there I picked up the your what you call the interest in the distribution side, and I took it wholeheartedly, and I stayed in that organization for 3 years. After that I joined in teaching. So there I have learned many things in 3 years of what in those days. Nowadays things have changed, right. So you will find they used to put some thumb rule regarding putting shunt capacitors, right. But one thing is there, you in the lecture you will see that suppose some shunt capacitor rating, say for example 1 megavar you have connected, that is at the rated voltage, that is at the rated voltage. Its rating varies because I will put a question to you, that answer I will give two answers, one answer I will not give, that is up to you. That how many types of generally loads are there, different type of loads. One is a constant power type of load. I am putting constant, still 15 minutes are there, constant power type of load. Many of you are writing here, can you write the answer of that example of constant power type of load? Then I will appreciate that. Then another one is the constant impedance load, right. Can you give an example of constant impedance load? If you write the answer here, I will tell you. Another you give say constant current load, right. Another thing is mix of all these things, right. It is called composite load, right. So different type of your loads are there. So let me tell you one thing, this your shunt capacitor actually when you put like that, I am giving this example to you, it is basically constant impedance load because frequency generally fixed as 50 Hz, right. So reactance almost constant you can assume, right, and reactive power QC is equal to V square upon XC, right. So assuming it is an ideal capacitor and R is neglected. So in that case, if you this proof this QC is equal to V square XC and constant impedance load, it is if I recall correctly, it has been explained in your course, this course, later it will come, right. So it's a basically constant impedance, that means QC actually proportional to the your V square, XC is constant, assuming frequency is constant, right. So if suppose 1 megavar capacitor is given, means it is suppose it is connected at say 11 kV voltage, for example say, right, 11 kV means you say 1 per unit, that means QC is proportional to V square, that means you can write QC is equal to QC0 into V square. I mean it is something like this, because all I do not write on this thing, right. So that is QC actually, if you like this, reactive power is equal to V square upon XC. This XC, that is 1 upon omega C, right, basically it is your what you call omega C V square, but omega is 2 pi f, assuming frequency is constant. So naturally this your XC is constant, that means QC actually proportional to V square, right. So generally suppose anything QC can be written as QC0 into V square, right. So suppose this is the thing, QC0 if it is 1 megavar, say 1, and it depends on V is per unit. If voltage is V is equal to 1.0, say it is 11 kV, 1 per unit is equal to 11 kV, right, then it will inject 1 megavar. But question is that if voltage is less, suppose it is 0.95, then it will be 1 into 0.95 square, right. So it will be less than the specified rating. So if voltage, and generally you will find most of the voltages are less than the rated voltage. So it will inject your what you call that your less reactive power. That means whenever somebody is doing research or this thing, they need to consider this capacitor as a constant impedance load, right. But if it is more than that, if it is 1.02 say, then it will be your 1.02 square, so it will inject more than the rated one, right. So that's why load, that another thing is the constant power load. Whatever load flow studies has been covered in this course, the loads are treated as a constant power, right. But if it is if except constant power, if you treat the load as a composite load, then what will happen, that load depends on the voltage magnitude. If you treat as a constant current or constant power, constant impedance or a composite of this, that means load actually is function of the voltage magnitude. That in that case what will happen, the load part is not a constant. Every iteration you have to evaluate the load, that means load, all the node load will be put in the iteration. Every iteration voltage is changing, accordingly load will change. So I put a question to you that if give an example of constant power load, and give one example constant current, I will not tell you, I will give you some thinking and put in the forum that answer, otherwise I will ask my TS to give the answer. And constant impedance, I told you that your what you call the capacitor, right. Can you give another example of roughly, it will also match, another example of constant impedance load? If you write here, then I will know the answer, right, but nobody has put the answer on this one. What is the, give one, every day you handle that in your lab, those equipments. So what is the example of a constant power load? Means the load actually tries to draw the constant power from the source, right. Constant current means the load tries to draw constant current from the source, and constant impedance means whatever may be the voltage and current, it will try to maintain that your what you call the constant impedance of this. So it is there in your lab, every day you are teaching, you know, you are handling, you know the name of those equipments, but only thing is that perhaps you do not know that this is the example of your constant, your what you call yes, somebody has written, Ganga Prasad Jadhav, yeah, constant impedance, he has given one example. Yes, it is correct, but little bit it varies with temperature. Your answer is correct, that is constant impedance, right. Any like resistance. And what about constant power? And somebody has written that what is importance of surge impedance loading. I think this question has been answered in that your what you call in the forum. Whatever questions you are putting, and why surge impedance of cable is less as compared to overhead line, that is also explained in the cable thing whatever I have taught, and whatever importance of surge impedance loading in power system, these are all covered, right. If you want, I will ask my TS to put today itself those answers again, right. But these are all, if you listen those your what you call those lectures, all are all have been answered. And but what is the example of constant power? You are handling you are give one example. That is constant impedance, some Sovic 007 is putting, that is your constant impedance, right. But you are telling that, sir, this can be as a constant power load, this whatever writing here, more or less this one also I can accept to some extent, but one specific example, one machine rotating machine, I am giving you a hint, rotating machine, right. So whatever load flow studies you have considered this thing, but surge impedance cable and this thing and surge impedance loading in power system, both have been covered in your cable thing, right. And I didn't bring those notes also with me. Anything else? Here maximum question comes from Hitesh. One Hitesh is there, then I think Samasri may be the next, right. Yes, you are right, Sovik, you are right, right, your answer is correct. This answer others also can see, no, whatever he is there writing here, yes. They can see, no, yes, so yes, your answer is correct. Thank you that this thing, but constant current you gave, right, other think little bit on the power electronic side, and this answer I will not give for one day, and you think and give one example of constant or current load, right. And anything else? If you have anything. But just circuit mentioning will not help. You have to give something, this thing. Sovik said he was guessing. Somehow typographical error is there in guessing spelling, right. Yes, Ganga Prasad also answered correctly. Yes. Anything else? And if you have anything. But let me tell you very frankly, among all the chapters covered in this course, only that travelling wave part, that transient over voltage, will be slightly difficult one. But for the easy analysis, what I have done is I have neglected the resistance, and all the travelling wave part also from this book. I think most of these things have been covered from this Turan Goinan book, the travelling wave part, right. This is the only little bit, that is why your assignment average has gone down for that thing, right. Average has gone down, but other things are okay. All other assignments, whatever average score I can see, all of you are doing well. But travelling this thing, travelling wave card, it has slightly gone down because it is slightly difficult topic. Then somebody no, if you say that your synchronous motor, you have to give the mathematical thing, that you have to give an this thing, mathematically you have to prove that that it is making constant power, right. Although that induction motor also I said that, but you have to prove it, that some proof is required that yes, it draws. Anything else? Anything you want? And they are telling 5 minutes, 5 minutes left. Only one thing I didn't answer, I have to read it because I am not in touch, that is your Summer's question, the grounding and grounding or grounding, that grounding resistance, etc. That is not related to this course, but I will try to put it in forum. You will find the answer will be in forum. Or if you have a mail, you can send me mail, I will send it in detail. No, just saying you this thing Zener diode or your diode circuit will not help, you have to explain it, but here explanation is not possible, but you have to explain it. It is not like that, it is not exactly like that, right. Just if some name comes and those things. Anything else? So, hope that your what you call that from various part of India you have some of you have answered. Hope I believe some of you have listened to this, and before leaving I have to tell you once again that those who will write the exam for this course, I hope for the best, I pray for the best to all of you, do well, right, and take it seriously, and just read all the lecture notes very carefully, and well, many things are asked, sir, why don't you give the your lecture notes? Once I thought, but later I found that there are so many pages for this handwritten thing, and scanning and giving it to you, it will take a long time, right. And that's why after taking few pages your scanning, I have decided at least not, but you listen carefully and things will be all right for you, right. So that's why I am extremely sorry that everything was for handwriting, and that also perhaps you know how much labor somebody has to give in when it is handwriting, and that's why I could not make it in that your scan copy to you, but you just please go through it and listen carefully, and all the video lecturing down you need not go through YouTube, there you have the link, you can easily listen, right, and everything I have seen that it is readable and visible, and absolutely there is no problem, and just try to do well. This is my suggestion to Hitesh has given so many example, computer, then somebody grounding motor, right, so many things are given, right. So thank you very much for this. So I have to now say to all of you to goodbye, but next week I think again during the same time perhaps those who will listen to QTP lecture, they are also for another 2 hours. That time I am telling you in advance, those who will listen QTP lecture, mostly I will try to cover there on the part of the your what you call 1 hour I will spend for distribution thing, another hour I will try to spend on load frequency control, right. So with that I have to say goodbye and thank you to all of you.